Um, I was in I'm in finance, Mazalan, amen. I was in a department, a very toxic department, to a point where before I log in and Sebenzini, I would have anxiety because it was bad. Kakulu. And I remember I prayed to God. I asked God, God, take me out of this team. Give me another job. I remember it was so bad that I was speaking to my mother the other time, and she was like, you don't have a child, you don't have huge responsibilities. God will sort you out. It was that bad. So I remember the one time I got an interview at another company. And that interview went well. I went for my first round of interview, second round. And in an interview, you can see that people are really impressed by you. And I thought, oh, Tico, this is my time to leave here. This is an answered prayer. And when it was time for them to give me an offer, one week passed. And the second week passed. And then on the third week, I got we regret to inform you email. And I cried so much. I cried so much. I was like, God, this is what you know how much I'm suffering in this place. I thought that this is your time. This is the time for you to take me out of here. And that didn't happen, Mazawan. And I believe 3 months later, I got another job at a different department in the same company. And when I had that job, I remember my first meeting. It was a management meeting. So at that meeting, I was speaking to one of the managers. We were just having a conversation during the break. And one of the managers tells me, hey, I have a friend of mine. The job was in Durban. I have a friend of mine who came back from maternity leave and left her job and quit immediately because there's a new manager that got introduced in her department and she's terrible. And then when I asked her which company, she states the company that I was interviewing for. And it turns out that it was the very same team that I was supposed to join and leave my company. It turns out it was more worse, if there's such a word, than where I was. And what is interesting, or what would have been devastating, is that I would have left Joburg and moved to KZN, only to go to a place that is much worse. But God shut that door in my face. And when He shut that door in my face, I did not understand. But He is a God that places things in order. Now I was in a hurry to say, God, I need to leave now. But I needed for He needed me to wait just a bit. Because He was placing things for me in order. And the job that I got there, it was a senior management job. But I was so desperate to leave that the one that I was going to, it was the same level. I was going to move in the same. I was so desperate that I was saying, even if I get the same salary, I'm fine. I just need to leave this place. But God had to shut that door in my face because He was setting things up for me. There are times where God will shut a door in your face. God, He is setting processes for you to ensure that when you get what you have been praying for, that it is exactly what you want and what you have prayed for. You know that module that you are struggling so much with. It might happen that on the year that you graduate, it's the year where at a certain company there will be a vacancy that would not have been there the previous year. But God is a God of order. when something is meant to happen on day 6, He will ensure that it happens on day 6. So it is important for us to learn to trust God. Amen. Now, uthi apha, let us make men in our own image and our own likeness. What does that even mean? Like, you are so important that when God created you, when He was creating, when He was creating animals and birds, He was just doing it. I bought that this is good. But when He created man, He had to consult the board of directors in heaven. What He let us create man in our own image, meaning that we look, the way we look is that of God. And also in our likeness, meaning that the character, we were created, the main purpose why we're on earth is to represent God. Emhlabeni, to be the clothes of God in the world. Now with God, His likeness is that He has power and authority. They should dominate, they should have dominion over the earth. So as we were created in the image of God and in His likeness, the purpose of God while we were here is for us to reveal His power and His dominion. In all areas of our lives, we were not called to be ordinary people. It's just a shame that now we have found ourselves as ordinary. But when we were created, God wanted a version of Himself in the world. So what He dominate, they should have dominion. In your studies, as I was praying, God was revealed to Uguti, university is a place where abantu are trained to have dominion in the workplace. We are not here for vibes. I don't believe anyone is here for vibes or because they were bored and high. You are here so that you are trained enough to step into the marketplace and have dominion. So it should be the church of God ought to be strategic. As much as you are trained skillfully to have dominion in the workplace, but the church should also be intentional about training you guys for you to have dominion in the spirit. As you step and you have influence in the company, you should have been trained to have dominion. That is why the devil, like I said, the devil will target you in varsity. I don't think there's any place that has temptations like this place. You see sin in higher grade here.